A lone woman dressed in all black walked into town. She had nothing but a map in her hand. All the villagers stared at her as she passed by, not daring to ask where she was from or why she had come. No one dared speak to her until she reached the town's main square. There, sitting on a nearby bench, was an old man. He, too, was dressed entirely in black. He sat motionless, seemingly part of the scenery. But when he saw the woman, his cloudy eyes suddenly sharpened. "You're late," he rasped, his voice like dry leaves crunching underfoot. The woman didn't reply. She merely nodded, confirming the old man's suspicion. "So the map is real," he muttered, more to himself than to her. "I knew it wasn't the ramblings of a madman." The woman took a deep breath and finally spoke. Her voice was like the wind chimes in the graveyard, eerie and melancholic. "Where is he?" she asked, her gaze fixed on the dusty ground. The old man gestured with his chin towards the west of the town, where the sun was beginning its slow descent. "Past the river, third house on the left. Last one standing," he said, his voice barely a whisper. With a curt nod, the woman turned and walked out of town. As she walked, the villagers watched her go, their gazes filled with a mixture of fear and fascination. Who was this mysterious woman? What had brought her to their town, and who was she looking for? Their questions went unanswered as she disappeared beyond the town's last houses. The sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple as the woman approached the outskirts of town. Following the map, she walked past weathered wooden houses, each one a silent witness 2 years gone by. Finally, she stopped in front of a dilapidated structure, its paint peeling and porch sagging. This was the third house from the river on the left, just as the old man had described. Taking a deep breath, the woman knocked on the door. The sound echoed in the gathering darkness, seeming to shake the very foundations of the house. She knocked again, louder this time, and a moment later the door creaked open. A gaunt face peered out, etched with lines of pain and weariness. A single candle flickered behind him, casting long dancing shadows on the wall. "Can I help you?" the man asked, his voice raspy. His eyes, however, were sharp and wary. The woman stepped into the room, momentarily blinded by the flickering candlelight. "I'm looking for someone," she said, her voice echoing in the small space. "John, Thomas, William," the man began, then stopped. Recognition dawned on his face, causing the candle to fall and plunge the room into darkness. "Sarah," he whispered, his voice cracking with emotion. In the darkness, the woman rushed forward, and they embraced. Two lost souls finding solace in each other's arms after years of separation. Through their tears and trembling bodies, they clung to each other, the weight of their reunion pressing down on them like a physical force. When they finally pulled away, the man, whose name was Thomas, noticed the map in Sarah's hand, took it, his fingers tracing the faded ink. "You found it," he whispered, more to himself than to Sarah. He looked up, his eyes filled with a lifetime of regret. "It took me 20 years to find this damn farm," he said, his voice heavy with the burden of the past. Sarah reached out, her touch gentle on Thomas's arm. "It doesn't matter anymore," she said, her voice soft but firm. "What matters is that I'm here now." Together they stood in the darkness, two souls bound by a past they could not change, but a future they could yet write together. The next morning, the villagers awoke to the sight of smoke rising from Thomas's chimney, a plume of hope against the bleak backdrop of the lonely ranch. Word spread like wildfire through the town that Sarah had returned. People came out of their homes, their faces a mix of curiosity and apprehension. They watched as Sarah and Thomas walked side by side, their figures silhouetted against the rising sun. For years their faces had been etched with the harsh realities of their solitary lives. But now there was a change, a flicker of something new in their eyes, a shared secret that bound them together. As they walked, their heads bent close, their voices low. They didn't notice the villagers' stares. They were lost in their own world, a world that had been fractured for 20 years, but was now, at that moment, healing. And so it was that the lone woman who had come back to the village with nothing but a map ended up staying right where she belonged, with the one who had loved her for 20 years and the one who had never given up hope of finding her. The map had led her straight to him, the lonely rancher, and to a second chance at love.